What is up, guys? Well, we are finally here for today's season of the 28 days slash weeks slash years later season. This is going to be a review for the movie 28 Days Later, which came back in 2002, directed by Danny Boyle. Now, if you don't know what 28 Days Later is, it's basically a horror, suspense, drama, zombie-esque type of movie where it's about a guy named Jim, played by no other than Cillian Murphy, which recently just came out in the movie Oppenheimer, if you haven't seen it. He got a couple of Oscars back in maybe about 2 years ago when it came out with Barbie as well, which he plays, a young man that wakes up from a coma that he got from a bicycle accident, and when he wakes up, he doesn't know that all hell has broken loose all over Manchester and the UK, and he must find out what happened in the 28 days that he was asleep in this coma and what happened to society. So yeah, guys, so this is gonna be a review series. I'm planning to review 28 weeks later and also 28 years later. That's about to come out next Friday, and I'm hoping to go see it a day before because I don't want to get spoiled on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. You know how those social platforms can be when it comes to spoilers. I just want to let y'all know this is a huge review series for me because I've been waiting for at least, or heck, everyone's been waiting for almost 13 or 14 years for a third part conclusion to this trilogy. Yes, 28 days later, then 28 weeks later, and finally 13 years later we got 28 years later. A lot of people thought it was going to be called 28 months later, from days to weeks to months. But Sony was like, and Danny Boyle was like, hey, you know what, let's skip the months, let's get straight to years, and we just continue with there. So I'm very excited to go through this review series because these are one of my all-time favorite zombie movies of all time. I think these zombie movies are super underrated. They should be up there in the Mount Rushmore of zombie movies of all time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's review. Alright, guys, so starting off with the things that I do like with 28 Days Later, and I gotta hand to you, I gotta give it to Danny Boyle and his choosing of stylistic of the camera work. Now, I will say, as much as I do love this movie, sometimes the camera work has not aged so well. But for me personally, I do think the color grading and the camera work and the cinematography in this movie specifically really enhances emotion and the scale and the horror it's trying to tell in this movie. Now, I know I just showed my wife this movie about maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, and the first thing she told me when this movie started was, hey, you know what, I don't like the camera work in this movie, I don't like the color grading, I don't like the cinematography, and which I kind of understand where she's coming from, but for me, I think it adds an extra layer to that horror aspect of things, because honestly, if this movie was just shot in 1080p, kind of like how the last maybe 5 minutes in the movie concludes, I think it would lose kind of that horror aspect of the movie. So I gotta give Danny Boyle a huge credit to try to make this movie stand out way more than the other zombie movies that we've seen, like Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead, and all these other zombie movies of the film. And I also gotta give credit to Cillian Murphy as Jim. I think Cillian Murphy as Jim is also one, if not one of the best characters in a zombie movie I've ever seen. Now, some people would say, the characters from Dawn of the Dead or the guys from Shaun of the Dead, those are still a couple of good characters. Or maybe some people would talk about Alice from Resident Evil, which I don't think Alice is a great character. I think she's pretty boring. But I do like Cillian Murphy's character as Jim. You have this guy waking up from a hospital, out from a coma, and wakes up in a empty hospital, has no idea what happened, has no idea what's going on, and he's going around the UK going, dude, where is everybody? You see trash all over the floor, you see him walking through the streets trying to figure out where is everyone's at, why is there cars abandoned, why is there posters of kids and people missing, like what the heck is going on? And all of a sudden, when he finally comes face to face with these infected people who are being infected by the rage virus in this church, that's when he notices, oh, wait a minute, something happened when I was asleep. And also, not only that, but you also have these other two characters that he also meets up with, Naomie Harris and Noah Hartley, characters with Selena and Mark. When they meet up and they get together, and Selena and Mark are letting Jim know about the events that happened when the 3 weeks or the 4 weeks that he was unconscious. And he lets them know that the infected started and how a embargo, how it spread throughout the whole entire UK. So the cast members also with the other two, the dad and the daughter, I forgot their names at the moment. I think they're a very good character. I like the chemistry between them two, with Selena and with Jim as well. They have a very awesome chemistry with each other. They understand each other. They have trust with each other. very early on because they have no other people they could trust. I mean, the only people they know that are alive at that time is them four, which are in that building. So I do really like their chemistry with each other. That's really one thing I really do like with the film as well. Another thing that I do like about this film is the infection itself. Yes, the rage virus. Now, this ain't no type of virus that we all know where people are like, oh, you know, you gotta be dead to be infected. No, Danny Boyle did something super tremendous with this type of virus and this type of infection. This virus, the rage virus, is more than a infection that gets inside people's blood that makes them die and, you know, become a regular zombie like we've seen in all these other zombies. No, this is kind of a type of infection that was in chimpanzees, monkeys, that these animal rescuers try to come and break out, and the scientists let them know, like, hey, don't break them out, they have an infection. Well, what type of infection? The people saying he's talking about, they have a rage virus. So this rage virus, you can't control it. It's like rabies. You know, if it gets inside of you, even if it gets inside of your eyes, your tongue, inside a simple cut, whether it's from blood or saliva, in a couple of seconds, you will be overtaken by this virus, and you will not be able to control yourself. So I do like that extra layer to infect it, because we're all used to infections in other zombie movies where, you know, like if you get bit, you're a zombie, but there's no extra layer. Like, let's say like you kill a zombie and then their blood gets in your eyes and your tongue or your ears, whatever, and you won't get infected. You know, they're usually like, oh, it has to be through a bite mark or through a scratch, and you get infected, right? You know, like The Walking Dead and Dawn of the Dead. But with this one, he goes to an extra layer. The rage virus is extra more dangerous, because if it gets even a simple blood or saliva gets inside of your eyes, your tongue, or even a single cut in your body or on your body, you will get infected within 8 to 10 seconds of its contagion. So I really do like the rage virus, how it's more dangerous than any other virus that we've seen in any other movies or media that we've seen these past couple of years. And I love that these people, or these rage infected people, are not certain zombies. They're just infected by the rage virus that makes them so rageful that they're not able to control themselves or control their actions or their minds. So whatever they're doing, they have conscious of what they're doing, but they can't control themselves because of the rage virus that's living inside of them. So I think the rage virus is an awesome concept for a zombie movie, which I hear people complain, there's not zombies, Felix, they're rage virus, it's a rage virus, they're just people who are raging that can control it, listen, whatever, zombies, rage virus, whatever, same thing, you know what I mean. So that's another thing I do like about this movie, is the rage virus. I also gotta give credit to the third act of this movie. The third act of this movie, where Jim and Selena and the father and the daughter as well, they get into this camp compound with these British soldiers, thinking that they found a safe haven for them to be safe from these rage people outside of the islands. And so I really do like this area. You know, all the British soldiers have their own have their own personality and character with each of them. You have this one British soldier who can't even cook, who's wearing like a pink apron for some reason. And you have the corporal or the lieutenant who's in charge of all these soldiers. He's giving commands to make sure to go set up mines, set up lights, set up the weapons outside, so that way no infected or rage people can come inside the compound. But it's the aftermath of what I love so much. It's the last 25 to 20 minutes of this film, which I love so heartily about this movie, where you have Jim finally escapes from these soldiers. He comes back to get Selena and the young girl to try to save him, and all of a sudden, all throughout this whole entire third act, you have Jim going around this huge mansion, taking out these British soldiers one by one with the awesome score that 28 Days Later has. And it's the score at the very end when Jim's going around this entire mansion, taking out all these British soldiers one by one. Man, that score is like chef kiss. It's like part of my playlist right now. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, here's a clip of that soundtrack right here. Yeah, I know, I told you. It's an awesome soundtrack. So, yeah, guys, love this movie, awesome. Now, going to the mixed aspect. Now, as I said previously in my podcast slide, as much as I love Danny Boyle and how he took a step forward, the cinematography, the camera work and everything, I do have to say that there are some points of the movie where the camera work does seem a little aged out. Like, for example, the scene where where Jim is running away from the infected very first time he meets him in the church, and he's running, and Mark comes out and starts throwing the Molotovs at the infected, and he's running. That scene and that cinematography with the camera work, it hasn't aged so well, so I can see how people can be a little turned off with this movie because of the camera work. But again, like I said, it's a thing that I do like for the movie in general, but there is some parts of the movie where it does seem out of place and outdated and outaged. But overall, I do like the camera work. But there are some things that Danny Boyle need to look into about, you know, even with the Blu-ray version of this movie, you know, the camera work still looks a little in some eras. But overall, I do like this movie. I think it's an awesome flick with the camera work overall. As far as negative, guys, I think there is no negatives for the movie. I think this movie is a straight 9 out of 10 for me. I think there's nothing wrong with this film. I find no mistakes, no problems, aside from the camera work and, you know, the outdated, outaged camera frames and color grading within the camera work and certain scenes. But overall, guys, I think this is a fantastic movie. I would truly recommend this movie to you guys. If you guys have not seen 28 Days Later, I highly recommend you checking out this movie, because 28 Years Later is coming out next Thursday, next Friday. If you guys want to jump into the series, you know, this one and 28 Weeks Later, I truly recommend you guys to fully jump on board with this trilogy and see what Danny Boyle has up his sleeve with a new zombie-fied movie in this day's era. But that's about to do with this movie review, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time to watching my review. I appreciate all your time and support. If you guys like to see more reviews on certain movies here and there, I will be reviewing 28 Weeks Later, 28 Years Later when they come out. And also, later on, coming this month, I will be reviewing every single Jurassic Park film until Jurassic World Rebirth will be coming out on July 2nd. So, if you guys want to come and watch more reviews, go ahead and press the like button, press the subscribe button, like and share, comment down below what you guys think about 28 Days Later, or even what you guys think about these movies overall. Do you guys like them? Do you guys hate them? You guys in the middle of it? So yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace, y'all.